This happened almost 4 years ago. My parents and my husband were visiting my mom's family in Indianapolis. I used to go all the time as a child, but I wouldn't know my way around. I was drinking a lot because my husband had an emotional affair with his ex that lasted 4 months. She tried to break us up. Honestly, I could write a whole post about how she's tried to ruin our relationship. So we saw my family and then went back to the hotel. I was upset, so I said I was going to smoke. In reality, I was going to the hotel bar. I got double multiple vodka shots with a splash of orange juice. I was feeling good. The bar was closing, so I asked the bartender where there was another bar. She told me to go to TGIF's. It was about a 10-minute walk. Remember, this was after 10 p.m., and I was already drunk. I went inside and got more drinks. I don't remember how I got outside, but I was smoking and there were people outside in the parking lot with me. Suddenly, I was being dragged into a car. I don't know how long it had been. I was so drunk I couldn't do anything or realize how messed up I was. During this time, my husband realized I was missing and woke up my mom in my parents' room. He tracked my phone to the GGIF's parking lot. My mom and husband got to my phone, but I wasn't there. Then my mom saw this man trying to get me in his car. She got out of the Uber they were in and started screaming to let me go. This asshole thought my mom was just a stranger trying to save me. He didn't believe her, and I remember the yelling. I only remember him saying, "How do I know she's your daughter?" or something like that. He had grabbed me so hard I had bruises. My mom threatened to call 911 since I was almost in his car. He let go of me and drove off with his back passenger door open. I'm convinced something bad would have happened to me at that very moment. I was unfamiliar with the area. I was drunk, and I barely realized how bad the situation was. I was taken to the hospital and catheterized. I was also strapped down. I was released the next day. I didn't hear what my mom and husband saw until we got home since we were driving home that day. One night when I was 18, I was laying in bed looking at my phone. My bed was along the farther wall from the door, which was open. The light in the hallway was on, so I was not seeing things from the dark. I felt weird and cold, like the moment before a storm when the air just stops completely still. In the doorway was a white, misty, translucent figure of my mom, wearing her nightgown, full body, everything, staring at me and not moving. It stayed there for longer than a minute. I had more than enough time to stare and blink forcefully, trying to make it go away. I didn't say a word or move anything but my eyes. Eventually, it vanished. I didn't really feel fear. It felt like coming across a deer that freezes to stare at you before running away. Just staring. I went to my mom's room because I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's her ghost. She's dead. But she was laying there sleeping. She's a very religious Christian woman who is never afraid of anything, doesn't believe in ghosts or paranormal activity. So when I told her about what I just saw, she said, "Oh cool, okay, well I'm right here, go to bed." She made me feel confident that it was my mind playing tricks, but I've seen some posts here about similar things. What was this? Was it bad for her, or for me to have seen it? If it matters to mention that my house had severe residual energy from my home life situations, a kind of residual energy from living people who are suffering and causing suffering. My friends were always scared when sleeping over on the couch because it felt worse than the living room. I never experienced a ghost, so I don't think there ever was an entity, but often I felt like I was being watched. This happened about 5 years ago. I was around 16 to 17 years old. I always enjoyed walking. I would spend at least 1 hour a day walking the roads around where I lived. One day I was out doing my normal route, walking down my street that my house was on, taking a right out to the main street and following it until I got to the end. There, I would cross the crosswalk and retrace my steps to go home. On this particular day, I was about 20 feet from where I would leave the main road on my journey back home. I had my headphones in, blasting music as always, which can be a bad habit as I'm a young female that had been put in sketchy situations while going for my walks. But since it was daylight and the roads were pretty busy, I figured I was safe. But man, was I ever off with that assumption. As I was about to pass the entrance of a side street before leaving this main road, a black Ford F-150 pulled up. He stopped and gestured for me to walk in front of him, so I do so. I was about to go on my merry way when I barely hear someone trying to talk to me. I turn down my music, take out my headphones, as I look to see the man in the black Ford, still stopped at the entrance of the side road. I looked at him puzzled, trying to figure out if he was talking to me. I pointed at myself, and he grinned, nodding. "What's a beautiful girl like you doing out here?" he asked. I laughed awkwardly. Walking," I replied, seeing as the answer should have been obvious. "It's a beautiful day for that," he commented, just seeming to make small talk. "Yeah," I stated, before going to turn around and continue my route home. "Wait," the man called. I stopped and turned around, just trying to be polite, even though the encounter was odd. I didn't see too many red flags yet. The man then went off saying things such as, "You're so beautiful. You know you have a really nice body. This hot weather is nice for a hot girl." I grew incredibly uncomfortable at this point, seeing as this man had to be in his mid-40s. He had a bit of a receding hairline with black hair, a nose with a protruding bridge, blue eyes that were surrounded by slight wrinkles, and was dressed in a dress shirt. So I instantly brought up my age, saying, "I'm a minor." There had been multiple times I have been mistaken for being older than I was. I was hoping saying this would get this fully grown adult-ass man to back off, but he didn't. "Oh, that's okay. Come on, sweetheart. Get in the truck," he said. That's when I started panicking. Red flags shooting up everywhere. Stranger danger. I laughed nervously, looking at the car around me to see if anyone was noticing what was happening. Nobody did. "That's fine. My house isn't that far." "No, really. Get in the truck. I'll bring you home." "No!" "Come on, just get in here with me," he called as I turned and started walking away. I was hoping he'd just drive off somewhere, but he didn't. Instead, he drove extremely slow and followed me, complimenting me and trying to pressure me into his truck. I thought fast of multiple options for different scenarios, but I chose a simple one. I pulled out my phone. While still walking, I lifted it up to my ear, pretending to loudly answer a call. "Hey, Dad." "Yeah, no, I'm just on Enter Street name here. I'll be home in about 10 minutes. I stopped, pretending to listen to a reply. "Okay, you're outside waiting for me? Awesome. Yeah, we can do that when I get back. Love you." After he heard me saying that, he took off, tires screeching. I ran back home and made it back within about 6 minutes, actually calling my dad on the way, who had made a call to the police, who showed up shortly after and took my statement and description. Turns out there was a man on the loose in my area who was exposing himself to minors and trying to pick them up for sexual acts, but they never actually found out who he was exactly.